Turn you on. Thanks for staying this afternoon. We're live streaming this as well, so I know there's a few folks that are watching online from different places. But we're trying to figure out a good time to do this, and there's no good time to do this, so we just figured maybe we could do it after church one day. So that's what we'll do. We'll get it done. But we've been looking forward to telling you about this. We've been home for a month now?
Yeah.
About a month? So the trip is not in our rear view mirror yet, but it's getting there. It was an amazing
That's because
trip.
we've had 2 babies since our trip.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't.
The last week has been pretty eventful, yeah, for our family, yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and jump over to the slides here for just a second, and we've titled this Around the World in 22 Days because, Around the World in 80 Days, the old novel that was out there. And so our trip took us around the world in 22 days. And the reason we decided to go around the world was when we were originally planning this trip, we knew we were heading to Africa for sure, and we discovered that the return flight from Africa was almost the same price as if we just kept going around the other way back home. And so we said, well, if we keep going around that way, we might as well stop and visit with Micah and Misty in Thailand. So that's what the trip ended up being, and it was delightful. It was in some respects exhausting, but it was also delightful. And so we're going to kind of share the trip with you in kind of 3 big parts, because that's kind of how the trip was. We were gone for 3 weeks, and each week we were pretty much stationed in a different place. So the first phase of our journey was from Indianapolis to South Africa. Each one of these trips is anywhere from 20 to 30 plus hours in travel time. So when we left Indianapolis, we flew to Charlotte. From Charlotte, we flew to London. From London, we flew to Johannesburg. And from Johannesburg, we had about a 3.5-hour drive to where the teach-outs are. In the city of Velkom. It's pronounced V, Velkom. And so that's where we'll start. So we had a long journey to get to Velkom, but everything went well. Just a word about our flights overall. We had 14 different flights, over 27,000 miles altogether we flew, and we didn't miss a single flight. And so the Lord was really generous to us. We had a couple that were delayed, but not enough to miss our connecting flights. So I was anticipating some problems along the way, and the Lord allowed everything to be really smooth. So we're thankful for that. So here we are in South Africa. This is at the Johannesburg airport. We're arriving with the president of South Africa behind us. They were all ticked off when we got there because President Trump had just said that he wasn't coming to the G20, which was being hosted in Johannesburg when we landed there. But Trump wasn't coming because of some, I don't remember what. And they were all mad at him, so that was fun. Teach-outs picked us up early in the morning, bless his heart, and we drove about 3.5 hours down to Velkom. This is the front entrance to the Pines. The Pines is the name of the ministry that the teach-outs have been ministering at for 7 years? 6 or 7 years now?
6 7.
Oh, please. It has no meaning. Okay. So what the Pines is, and we'll tell you more about this as we go through here, but this area of South Africa, you probably know South Africa is known for their mining, right? Diamond mining, gold mining, copper mining, platinum mining, all kinds of stuff. It may be one of the most mineral-rich countries on the planet. Unfortunately, it's run not real well government-wise, and so a lot of the mines have been shut down due to overregulation and all kinds of problems. Velkom, where the Pines is located, is right in the middle of the gold mining. It was the hub of the gold mining in South Africa. And so this whole compound where the teach outs live was once a mining compound. The whole place was used for mining and offices and keeping samples and all kinds of stuff. So they have let the Pines use this facility basically for nothing for all these years. They still own it, and they're in the process of trying to get that transferred over to the Pines ownership for like $1. Because the mines own the property, they have to take care of all of the upkeep of the property. And so they would like to not do that anymore. So they're trying to get that switched over. But so it's a pretty large facility. They house about 30 to 35 children that are orphaned at this facility. These are some of the buildings of the property. Do you want to talk about how they divide them up and in the families and stuff like that?
Yeah, so they take about 6 to 8 kids per, they call them a mama. Most of the mamas are from the village, and they, I think 4 out of 5 days are there, so they kind of rotate mamas. But they like to have one mama who's there all the time with them. But they take 6 to 8 children, and they become their mama while they're there. And it's just like a normal home life, except it's not a mom and a dad. So the teach outs are trying their best now to look for a couple, like couples that can come and be mamas and daddies, so that the kids are used to a regular home life. But yeah, they divide them up, and the kids they sleep there, play there. Those mamas are responsible for getting them to school, dressing them, all the things that normal homes would be like.
And so Randy and Carrie have, when they first went over there, they went over there to basically be in charge of the facilities and the grounds and stuff like that. That's Randy's background. And then shortly after they got there, all the people that were like above them and leading and stuff all left the field.
Well,
Like
some died.
Oh, okay. Well, they left. Yeah. So, so anyway, Randy and Carrie have had to assume a lot of extra responsibilities, and now they are starting to backfill some of those positions, which has been nice. But Randy takes care of this large facility. He teaches Bible to the kids. I forget what other subject. And Carrie also helps with teaching the kids after-school tutoring, things like that. Let's see. Let's slide through some more pictures here. They have a lot of property, and so they grow a lot of their own crops. You can see just to the left there at the back, greenhouses. There's a bunch of greenhouses. They grow indoor and outdoor. These are cabbages, a cabbage field, big, huge cabbages. This is inside the building. They've had a lot of groups come over to visit from supporting churches along the way, and every time a group comes, they do a little mural on the wall to kind of describe their time and their group there. So that was kind of cute. It was a whole wall of memories for them inside. This is what I did part of the time I was there. I painted doors. Can you imagine me painting anything? But I did. I painted. They have a big long warehouse, and they're trying to convert it into some more houses, some family
Flats,
units.
they call them flats.
So they can, flats. So they can bring in more kids. And so I was painting the doors. So that was fun. This is a gold mine. Some of the gold mines are deserted, and some of them are still functioning. The shafts go way up high above the ground, and this big above ground thing that looks kind of like a landfill is actually kind of a landfill. It's where they put the byproduct of the gold mining operation. They store it in these landfills because it's toxic. And so there's a lot of environmental stuff in the country that's opposed to all of this. And now some countries, because of how technology has boomed over the last 10, 20 years, some companies are going back into these landfills, and they're reprocessing all the byproduct, and there's a way that they can get more gold out of it. So they're trying to do that. But there's also a lot of illegal mining. Some of the mines that have been deserted or shut down, people are moving in and mining for themselves. And we were told that there are guys that just live miles underground, and that's their whole life. And there's a lot of problems with black market and stuff like that.
These lovely creatures.
Millipedes.
Yeah, they're long and slimy and were crawling all over. Rainy season had just happened. And so even inside where we were that building that said the Pines, that's where we were staying. And so these millipedes would find their way in, and I don't like creepy crawly things. And so Brian, as my protector, would try to move them out of the way, and we learned really quick. And I know they were big. Um, anyway, he barely touched it, and immediately they coiled up like that. And I was telling my students at school, it's just how God made them, right? To protect themselves. They would curl up, and their exoskeleton got really hard. And so even though you barely touched them, they'd ping against the wall. But he would like move them. The only time he wasn't there is when I would go to the bathroom, where there was millipedes would go in there, and I would just be like watching them, like trying to, do what I was supposed to be doing, but making sure they weren't getting near. But finally, I got the nerve to start moving them with my foot too. And
This is our first exposure to wildlife in Africa.
yes, this was our first exposure.
Yeah.
I made it through.
We also saw praying mantises and dogs. Yeah, that was one of the dogs at the pines that
He
befriended me.
liked catching pine cones.
Yeah, he would chase pine cones. Yeah. And then the pines also own some animals. They have some horses and some pigs and some goats.
Some of them, there's a couple that are super friendly.
Goats that eat leaves.
This is why they like me.
But they raised them to kill them.
They raised them to
because, yeah, they're going to eat them.
Goat is delicious, and they eat it all over Africa. One of the sad things that we noticed when we were driving around the Velcom area is this was a children's cemetery, and there were quite a few freshly dug graves. What's the right word? Mortality. Child mortality, yeah, is not great, and it's because there are a lot of children that live in pretty nasty conditions, and so there's a lot of problems with that. But anything you want to say about that? Yeah, it was just kind of sad. There was a lot of that there. Here's the Teachout family. They took us to a burger place.
It was great.
To satisfy Deborah. So yeah, we went to a burger place. That's Randy and Carrie, if you remember them, and then their two daughters that are living with them right now in South Africa. They have another couple of daughters that are here in the States in college, or just one. Yeah. And then their son, some of you may remember, had passed away a few years ago, tragically. You want to talk about that?
This is our Christmas dinner. So while you guys were having whatever you have for Christmas dinner, this is called biltong, I think it's, and it's just dried meat. So we got biltong, different varieties of it, and
It's
then
like jerky.
And then I forget what they called their French fries, but
Chips.
sloppy chips, I think they
Yeah.
called it.
Yeah.
And so that was what we had for Christmas dinner: biltong and sloppy chips.
It was delicious. Yeah, it's great. They have all kinds of flavor too, lots of flavors. Beef.
I don't think it's good. I think
primarily
it's beef.
Yeah, South Africa has tons of beef, and the prices. I didn't put any pictures in, but one night while we were there, we went to a steakhouse, and I must have had. Well, actually, I didn't get a big steak. I got like a mixed grill, where you get like 2 or 3 different kinds of meat. But you can get like big steak, big ribeye, and the whole meal, including the steak, is like $12 U.S. Because the beef is so plentiful there, and so the prices are great, and it's good. It's really high quality. Anyway, you want to talk about that?
This is 4 of the kiddos from the Pines. So I went with Carrie to kindergarten graduation. And so these are 4 of their kids. So all their mamas, they all had a different mama. So their mamas and those 4, and Carrie and I went and watched their kindergarten graduation. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. While I was painting doors certain days, Deborah was also helping. If you know,
The library.
Yeah, if you know Deborah, yeah, you know she's an organizer. So she walked into their library upstairs and was like, "Let's organize this." So she went at that.
Carrie had already organized.
Yes, it was
It's
organized.
just that over the
The kids-
school
the kids
year, it
disorganized it.
yeah. So I was just
Yep.
helping to reorganize it.
Yeah, so that was fun. Let's see, there we are with the teach outs. Everything's still decorated for Christmas. This was before Christmas. The trip, we left November 23rd before Thanksgiving, and then we came back on December 15th. That was the range of dates.
Oh, it was Thanksgiving dinner. Not, I said Christmas dinner before.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving dinner.
Biltong and sloppy chips. Yep. Our last day in South Africa, we drove up to a wildlife preserve in northern South Africa and went on kind of our little game drive. So we encountered some beautiful terrain up there. In the north, it's a little more mountainous than it was down where the Pines is. And then we encountered this sign. So, yeah. And then we drove and saw hippopotamus. I've often described Africa as like going to the zoo, except there's no cages. Yeah. So there's nothing preventing that hippo from. And there's a rhino out in the wild. It's a beautiful day to visit. Lots of birds and elephants. We had some kind of charger vehicle here. Here they come.
They're going to go across, I think, to the rest of the elephants. Except for one. He wants to come to us. Yeah, keep
Looking
coming.
for a better way
keep
down.
coming.
Deborah wants them to keep coming.
Oh, yeah, keep coming. No, we were in it.
Yeah, we had the
John's
windows
car.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see their car in a minute.
Looks like they're wrestling or something.
Yeah, worms stay away, but elephants come.
There's the rest of the flock over there. Flock? You call them flocks? Herd?
Herds.
Mm-hmm.
Want to come right by us.
It's very cool, very wild. I don't know what that is. Antelope, gazelle, impala.
Impala.
Something like that. Lots of those. Giraffe, he smiled for me. That's a
Cape buffalo.
Cape buffalo. Yeah, they have. It's one of the big 5 animals in Africa. Now we're back at Johannesburg, the capital, the second busiest airport in Africa, and we're getting ready for our second part of the trip, which we get on a little plane and fly about 2.5 hours up to Zambia. So just to the north, a couple of countries, and we ended up here. Here we are. Welcome to Zambia. I don't know if that's the president of Zambia behind us too, and they're probably mad at Trump for something too. Here's a little hotel where we stayed while we were in Zambia. As you can see, there's mosquito netting over the bed. That's very common in Zambia because the mosquitoes all carry malaria, which is why we're taking malaria pills the whole time on the trip as well. So at nighttime, you get into bed, and then you pull the net down over the 4 posters all the way down to the floor, and that's how you sleep. And then in the morning, you forget that it's there, and it's fine. The first Sunday we were there, we went to Kitwe Church, where Phil Hunt is the pastor. Phil Hunt's been here a couple of times. He's the missionary who's worked in this area for 30 years. That's him there on the right. And this is him calling up the kids just before they go to their version of Kid Zone. He calls them all up and prays for them, and then they send them out to go to their Kid Zone that day. And here I am preaching that Sunday. It was live streamed. I think some of you probably saw some of it. This is one of the fun things about Africa is because we've been there before, we've made friends with people, but sometimes those friends, like Facebook, friends, you only see on Facebook, right? So here's a Facebook friend of Deborah's that she was able to
Her name is Gloria.
meet up with in real life.
And she was like, Miss Deborah, my Facebook friend. And I was like, oh, good to see you. But we took a picture. I said I'd never forget her again. So yeah, her name's Gloria.
And then we also were able to meet up with the fellow on the left there is Bob Bixby. He goes all the way back to our time in Bible college. And we just happened to be at this same place at the same time. Neither of us knew we were going to be there. And we were very close friends. And so it was nice to catch up with Bob. He's serving as a director of a ministry up in above the Congo, Sorry, I can't remember the country's name, but it's an orphan.
It's in Central Africa, but it's
Central African
the
Republic.
ministry is called Jonathan's House that he works
Yeah.
with. And
It's an orphanage. So interestingly, I'll tell a long story very quickly. Phil Hunt came to this area 30 years ago to plant a church. He originally was wanting to go to another country, I forget which one, and the persecution was bad at the time, so he had to pick somewhere else to go. Just kind of randomly, he picked Zambia, and came here. He started a church, and over those 30 years since, that one church has started 5 other churches, and those 5 churches have all started other churches. And even some of those churches are now planting churches. So Phil has some kind of great and even great grandchildren churches that all started from this one church that he founded. So the Lord's really blessed his ministry over the year, as you'll see here in a minute. We were going to one of the churches that Mother Church had planted, and it's in a really poor section of the city. They call these shanty towns because a bunch of people will just kind of move in and erect shanties, little rude places to live in, overnight. And then the government, because of the laws they have in the books, is not allowed to remove them. And so sometimes shanty towns grow and grow and grow and become their own like little cities and suburbs. And so there are a lot of people that live here, a lot of children, a lot of families,
and
but
then the government comes in
very poor conditions, very squalor conditions.
yeah, the government then will come in and then decide to build concrete walls instead of these tin shanties because
Yeah,
now
sometimes
they've
they'll
become a
come in and
city.
help them modernize their shanty town eventually. But this one's still pretty rough. You can see how we're bouncing around. This is very common in even civilized Africa. The roads are not great. Once you get off the 1 or 2 main roads through town that are actually blacktopped, it's like this. It's dirt and potholes, and after a good rain, you're bouncing. So they probably need some good chiropractors over there. This is the inside of that church that we were on our way to. He's a faithful brother who's been there 10, 11 years, I think, at least. They're having a great ministry there among those people. This is the original church that Pastor Phil started. And why can't I remember the name of it? Faith, yes. Faith Baptist Church of Riverside. And so this was the mother church that kind of built the other churches. And it's still going strong. They have a Christian school there, too, that's associated with the church. There's another church that church, Riverside, founded this church. And then here we've reached the college. So after planting churches for quite a while, Phil had the burden to start a Bible college, and so he did. And over time, the Lord's blessed it. And so this is kind of the front way into the Bible college. A lot of the buildings have been financed through money from the United States, but the ongoing operations and everything inside, the teachers and all of that is all local. So he feels strongly about that. There's another gate entrance into the college. Here's kind of the main sidewalk that leads you down into the college. This is their main meeting center. It's a big gymnasium that they convert to auditorium. That's one of their newest buildings.
Can you go back? So that picture before, we took that picture because if you look at the 4 things that are coming down, it says honesty, obedience, wisdom,
Banners.
service, and the banners. And they took that model from the college that we attended. It's called the House of Christian Living. So anyway, they followed kind of a lot of what our college did. And so that was just unique to us. And we were like, oh, look, there's the House of Christian Living. It's so much like Northland.
Honesty, obedience, wisdom, and service. Yeah. Good things to practice, right? There's the inside set up for the Bible conference, which is the reason we went there at this time. They have an annual Bible conference where they had, I think, 700 church leaders primarily from all over Zambia and then other countries as well in Africa came together for preaching. Here's some singing. They're singing in their tribal language of the area. which is called Bemba.
You can see the English underneath. Like they always shared the English words with us.
They've also, Phil, in just the last year, has started Central African Seminary. They're just getting that off the ground. So an opportunity for some of their Bible college students to continue on and grow, which is an amazing accomplishment for mission work like this. So he's doing great work there. They've also started a library. Was it the library?
I think,
Yeah.
is that the library or the printing?
So they,
press?
yeah, that's a library. So they started the college, and then the library is very recent, the seminary is very recent, and then I'll come back to that in a second. Oh, wait a minute. I thought I had a picture of
I don't think you do.
Oh, maybe not. They have a publishing house that they just started as well. They have a couple of printing presses, and they're taking a lot of books from America, from American, guys, pastors, and authors that write books, and they're translating it or republishing them in English for Zambia, but I think also doing some languages and trying to have a ministry there, because it's hard to get books from America to Africa. It costs a lot of money to ship them, and so they get the rights and permissions from the Americans to reprint them. So that's fantastic. The fellow here, this is James, right? James
Yeah.
Banda. So James is someone that we met the last time we were in Africa, visiting Harrison and Michelle over on the other side of Zambia. And James is now going to college just down the road from this college. He's not going to this college. He's going to college just down the road, a huge college. But he came to the conference, and we bumped into him. Or he saw us, right?
He saw us and he said, Pastor Brian. And he goes, I'm James. And then I was like, wait, are you a Banda? So it was nice to run into him.
Yeah, so that was a great, fun, short reunion as well. This is Chopo Mwanza. He is the current pastor of that mother church, Faith Baptist in Riverside. He's pastored there a number of years now. He earned his doctorate of ministry degree from MacArthur Seminary out in California, back and forth, which unfortunately, I don't think they can do that right now because with the immigration shutdown that's been going on, Zambians are not able to come to the United States right now, unfortunately. But he was able to get his doctorate of ministry degree, and now he has just become the new president of the Bible College there in, so he's a great guy, Chopo. And this was kind of the group photo of everybody at the conference there. You can see Deborah and I in the little circle there up in the right. But we had a good time fellowshipping with those brothers and sisters. We also stopped, one of the other things that Phil started, amidst all these other things over the years, is an orphanage. And this is Faith Children's Village. Yes, I can't read. And this is a beautiful place, just like the Pines were the teach outs. Any kind of ministry to orphan children is precious. And so that's the director of the orphanage. He was giving us a little tour around. And then the children sang a greeting song for us.
I noticed they're in uniform and it's 90 degrees. That's what they wear. 90 degrees.
Wool uniforms, yeah. With hats on. A lot of African music is call and response, where someone will kind of call out a verse, and then everybody either repeats it or sings a chorus.
I love them.
Yeah, they're precious.
Don't you want to go there, Nina?
They're precious, yeah. Before we talk about Bernard here, so this orphanage also, they're a little larger than where the Pines is. They house about 90 children right now. Again, separated into different little homes, each with a mama. And they also have a school, so they educate all these children. And because there's such a high demand, they only let the kids come in at the lowest level of their school. So when they have openings for new kids to come in the orphanage, they only bring them in at age 4 or 5, something like that.
Well, they just have to
Right.
start. Their schooling is a little different, and so they start at level 1. So they might be 5 at level 1, or they might be 12 at level 1. But you all have to start at the same level, graduate from that level before you can go to the next level.
Yeah. So Bernard, do you want to talk about Bernard?
Bernard, we called him Bernard, and they were like, "Oh, you mean Bernard?" But 7 years ago, when we visited the Bandas and then went to the college, we went here, and Bernard was like a toddler, and we fell in love with Bernard 7 years ago because he was like the youngest one there, so cute and cuddly.
Personality.
And yeah, and he's still there, and so we got a picture with him because it was just a memory.
Yep. Little reunions. Another couple pictures here from this
That's
is
their school?
Yep. The school and the multi-purpose building. That's like one of the houses where they would have, 9 or 10
Yeah, they had about
Kids.
9 or 10 kids.
in a house? Here's the inside of one of those girls' houses.
They love puzzles.
Oh, yeah, let
So
me go
when
back.
when people come and visit,
See,
a
those
lot
are
of times they
puzzles.
ask for puzzles, and so in their homes they'll do puzzles, but then they
Put them on the wall.
attach them to the stone walls.
That's their kitchen in there. You can see it's primitive, but it's safe. They build these. Little living room area. Here's Deborah with some of the inhabitants of that one place there. There's one of the classrooms. Excuse me. And you notice the mosquito netting over their beds too? They have a health center at the orphanage as well that originally was built just for the kids, but they expanded it to include the surrounding community as well. So people will walk for miles to come to this where they have medicines available and a nurse available, and they have a doctor on call. They grow like the pines. They grow a lot of their own stuff. Here's some banana trees.
Their schooling's a little different. So they go to school Monday to Thursday in the classrooms, and then Friday is a work day. So all the kids are involved in keeping care
Tending
of
the
the
fields.
land and stuff.
Yep. That is a termite hill. It is probably bigger than you think. I would guess it's at least 15 feet high, maybe 20. And it's rock hard. The termites use their saliva, I think, if I remember right, to put these things together. And you can't break it. It's like solid. But they're all over Africa. Interestingly, this whole compound, they also dug a well, and so the well was originally for them, and then they opened it up to the community as well. So little children like this, and you'll see a smaller one in just a minute, will be sent by their moms and dads carrying a gallon container, and they'll walk for 3, 4, 5, 6 miles to this well, fill it up, and walk home.
And whatever container, you can see that looks like an oil container or something that was in it before. They fill it up with water just so their families can have fresh water.
And right next to this well was another one of the churches that Faith Riverside had planted. So all the kids in the orphanage all go to this church. They can walk to church. But folks from the community come as well. That was just a cool wall mural that we saw because it had the 5 big animals of Africa on it. So you see elephant. What else you see there? The rhino, the buffalo, the jaguar, leopard. The leopard and the lion are the main ones. Yeah, hippo. Yeah. This is walking through the market in Kitwe in Zambia. Just so you can see, this is how they buy and sell stuff. So just watch this for a second. You can hear the sights and sounds.
Yeah.
They had an excellent selection of bugs, all kinds of flavored bugs, worms, larvae, fruit, vegetables, trinkets. Not on this trip.
We did when we went to Uganda.
I've had cricket there before. It's not good. Yeah, you chew it and you chew it and you chew it, and the legs kind of never go away. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, I spit the legs out. Yeah, it tasted awful too. And here we are at the airport. This is their international airport, paid for by the Chinese government. The Chinese government is buying up all kinds of stuff across Africa, especially things like this, airports. They're building brand new, modern facilities. When we flew into Zambia 7 years ago, it was a very small, one terminal, one concourse. Yeah, and this is like modern, world class, paid for by the Chinese. And there's lots of that in Africa, all over the place. Our third leg of the trip is from Zambia all the way to Sawang, Thailand. This was new territory for Deborah and I. We'd never been to the Far East. Again, it was a very long trip. We flew from Kitwe back down to Johannesburg first. Then from Johannesburg, we flew to Qatar, Doha, Qatar, which is one of the Emirates, if you're familiar with that part of the world, right on the Persian Gulf. We were right across the Gulf from Iran. Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the big city of Dubai, is nearby. So we landed at Doha and then flew from Doha all the way to Bangkok. These were pretty long flights. Then after we landed in Bangkok, we were late at night. We stayed the night at a hotel at the airport. And then we flew about an hour, just about an hour, up to Sawang Dinden, which is the name of the town where Micah and Misty are in. Not originally where they went to. They originally went to the town Udantani, which is the bigger town that we flew into. And in fact, there's the airport. Not paid for by Chinese, you can see. And then we drove. It was about not far.
It wasn't far.
45 minutes.
30, 45, yeah.
And it's a neat story. If you don't know Micah and Misty's story about how they got to Sawang, there was a missionary, an older missionary, who had been there for quite a while, he and his wife, and they were in failing health. They were getting ready to leave the field, and they were looking for some help. And so Micah and Misty had a house in Udantani, and they were driving, they were commuting to help them, I don't know how many times a week. Eventually, in the last few years, the missionary man passed away on the field, actually. And his wife left, and now it's just Micah and Misty there, along with a Thai pastor. But
A new missionary just came.
yes, they have some help now again. But when they got to Sawang, Micah and Misty were still learning the language, and the pastor, what do you want? Is this for me? Thank you very much. Do I eat this? Okay. Delicious. Thank you. Not like the crickets. So where was I? Story. Yes. When they got there, the pastor who was there, the Thai pastor, speaks no English. And Micah and Misty were learning Thai, but it's a very hard language, harder than Chinese, which they had already learned from when Micah and Misty were in China. So they had, there was a girl in the church that helped interpret a little bit. I think the pastor's daughter. Yeah. But, oh my goodness, Micah has, I know Misty has made great progress too, but Micah has really done very well in language in just the last year. He's made great strides and is able to have conversations with anybody on the street now. So, and that's helped, of course, with the pastor there as well. So let's get into this section. This is the welcome sign to Sawang. I have no idea what it says. Deborah and I certainly felt the most out of place here because we didn't speak the language, and a lot of these people didn't speak English. In Zambia,
Well, we did learn Sawadika.
yes. So that's the greeting. You bow. You say Sawadika.
Well, he says Sawadika.
Cup.
And I say cup.
Males say cup. Females say ka. It's a very respectful culture. There's lots of bowing and that kind of thing. So this is the main entrance. What was I saying? Oh, Zambia. Zambia, the official language is English. Even though they have some tribal languages, everybody speaks English. All the kids go to school, learn English. Same in South Africa. They speak English, former British colonies. Here, yeah, we felt the most foreign, I think. There you go. There's a little dragon. So a lot of the architecture and stuff is just different, right? It's Eastern. It's not what you would expect. Deborah's getting a drink there, getting into the local culture. I don't know what that was. This a supermarket thing?
That was
A supermarket thing, yeah. Lots of bridges over the roadways. They're all decorated. A lot of them honoring the royal family of Thailand. They still have a king and a queen. And
No, the queen had just died. And so everywhere we went, I mean, it didn't matter where you were, there was a huge frame dedicated to the queen and flowers, and people would stop and pray because the queen had just died.
every business in Thailand was required to put some kind of a notice outside of its. Most of them had big banners with her picture on it, and it was something. Yeah, it was everywhere. Just some more of those overhanging, and then Mickey Mouse, of course.
This was a mall. We went to a mall with
Yeah.
Misty and Micah.
Mickey Mouse and some kind of cat. There's the Watkins girls. This is some fruit, just some different things that we saw there from the market. There's some apples that don't look like apples. And those are, what are those, mangoes? Or?
I thought it was pears. I'm
They
probably
look like
wrong.
pears, but I don't think they are.
The stuff right to the side of those, whatever they are, they taste like grapefruit, but there's a certain name for them.
Yeah.
They were delicious.
Yeah.
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 I forget the name.
Thailand is very tropical. So when we were in Africa, we were below the equator. When we were in Thailand, we were above the equator. But both of those locations were close enough to the equator that it was very hot. So we were in the 80s and 90s the entire time we were gone. And
Y'all were having snow.
and very tropical, yeah. So those green things are, it was a kind of bean, wasn't it? Yeah, I ate them raw. They were okay. Tasted a little bit like soybeans. Sushi, of course. One of the things that surprised me about the food in Thailand, because we didn't know what to expect going to the Far East. I didn't know what we were going to eat, or if Deborah would like anything. She's a little pickier than I am. And the interesting thing, if you've had Thai food here in America, I thought it was very, very similar to what I'd already had here in America. Whereas a lot of other things, like Mexican food here is different than Mexico, right? And Chinese food is different than Chinese food over there. The Thai was pretty comparable, so we enjoyed it. So here's some of the Thai dishes we ate. This was a really hot, spicy soup. Those are not worms; they're Thai chili peppers. It was very hot. That was a fish. You see the bones there at the top. Yeah, Deborah doesn't eat any of these things. This was good. The pastor made these dishes, chicken and pork with different things in them. Very good, a little spicy, very flavorful. Yep. I don't remember what that was. Do you remember what that was?
Nope.
Well. Was this stuff we had at the church?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. It was all pretty tasty. Soup. This is a coconut smoothie. Coconut milk smoothie. It's the best thing I had.
He
in
had to
Thailand.
have them almost every day.
Almost every day I had one of these. They were
It's
amazing.
like, I need a smoothie.
That was a breakfast I had one morning. Just different. Fried rice, little noodles, cantaloupe, pear, or grapes. It was just, yeah, different. Here's a temple. There are thousands of temples all throughout Thailand because of Buddhism being so prevalent there. And everywhere you look, there are all kinds of temples and shrines and places where you can offer incense and money and all kinds of things, gifts to the gods. This is one place in particular we went. It was very beautiful. It's called the White Lotus Temple. And you can see in the background, the temple is shaped like a lotus flower, the kind that float on lily pads on some of the lakes over there. And so we went and visited that. It was very ornate, lots of gold, lots of, just beautiful inside as well. And Deborah announced our arrival here. I don't know if she was allowed to do that or not, but sometimes she doesn't ask.
Now,
She just,
Deborah.
she
You
just does
started
it.
it.
So she gonged us in. This was a museum that we visited with Micah and Misty. It's a World Heritage Site. It's interesting. A lot about the just kind of the ancient history of that area. And then on the way home, they took us to a pottery place where we made pottery. Not my spiritual
Brian
gift.
didn't let me take it home.
No, it wasn't any good.
Mine was good.
No, it wasn't good. Neither of ours were good. But anyway, you see all these hundreds of shoes outside. That's because while we were there, a school group pulled up. And you don't wear shoes in the homes over in Thailand. You always take your shoes off before you go in. So there they all are, waiting to have their turn doing pottery. Hopefully they did better than me. Here's a market in Thailand, a little different than Africa. They have stands set up, but this is an evening market. It was just starting to rain, so we were on our way out. So maybe you'll get a glimpse of some stuff. But you can get anything from fresh fish to all kinds of fruit, all kinds of foods.
The clothing, they had like a
Clothing.
yard sale type, you
Yeah.
know, clothing would be out there.
There's some fish, some of them still kicking around a little bit.
Fish don't kick.
So how do they keep them so they don't like get spoiled?
I think some of them do get spoiled. They didn't
There
seem.
were some that
It
you
didn't
know,
seem real
seemed-
FDA conscious. Yeah. Frankly. Smell wasn't too bad. I think they kept some things in coolers, you know, until they put them out. And a lot of the food was prepared fresh, so they would fry things up, or you know, they had hot things behind the stands. The missionaries are helpful in that area. Yeah. We didn't have anything too crazy this time around. That is a bamboo, kind of a bamboo. I don't know what you call it.
Stalks.
Yeah, it's like a tree, but it's more than one bamboo. I guess that's how they grow. That was outside the church, big, huge.
We don't have a picture of it, do we?
Of what?
We ate
No.
we
You
ate
can
a
describe that, yeah.
special meal that
a snack.
they actually take bamboo, like pieces like this. They're hollowed out, obviously, because it's bamboo. They stick rice and coconut milk, and they stuff it all down into the bamboo, cook it over the fire, and it's like a sweet. I think they eat it as a dessert. We ate it as our meal, but after it's cooked, they keep checking it to make sure until the liquid has dissified. Is that the word I wanted? Anyway, and then they cut open the bamboo,
This is machetes.
and then they eat it right out of the bamboo. It was
It
interesting.
was a traditional thing.
Yeah.
This is a tamarind tree that they had at the church as well. These grow all over the place. And when they're ripe, they pull them off. They're like big pods. They're probably, I don't know, they're pretty big. And they open them up and they eat them right out of the pod. It's real sticky. If you know what tamarind is, if any of you have cooked with that at all, it's kind of it's a little sour, a little sweet, real sticky, kind of like, what would you describe it as? You didn't eat any, did you?
I did.
You tried it?
I did.
Wow. Okay. It's kind of reddish, yeah.
Kind of reddish, yeah.
They use it in a lot of
Kind of
foods.
fig, maybe like a
Yeah,
like a
kinda
hard
like a
fig type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real sticky though. Yeah, real sticky. It was good. I liked it. There's some sugar cane. That's another one of the major crops in Thailand. Pretty much rice and sugar cane those were the two main things, right? We saw them everywhere. Rice fields and sugar cane, all over the place. Oh yeah, and this. This is a rubber tree plantation. So I had no idea what rubber trees looked like, but there they are. They're pretty skinny. And so we visited one of the neighbors. Micah and Misty's neighbor was over for coffee one morning. We were talking with her, and she volunteered to take us to her father's.
It was her inheritance.
Yeah,
She called it
this is going to be her inheritance. Yeah. So this is what the father does in the spare time. He has this big forest of rubber trees, and it's cool. We could talk a lot more about that. But what they do is they scrape. You can kind of see at the top there. They kind of scrape one at a time. They kind of scrape a layer off of the bark, and then the rubber kind of runs down, almost like sap from a maple tree, and they collect it. And it's that little white stuff is the rubber, and it's kind of hard but squishy a little bit too.
Like rubber.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And then when that runs out, then they scrape the next layer down, and they go all the way down the tree. They keep scraping layers off until it's kind of, then they bind the tree back up and go on to other, and then they can start over again. Like the next year, it'll like redo itself. Oh yeah, yeah. It's I think I don't remember the stat, but I think Thailand is one of the number 1 or 2. It's way up there as far as exporters of rubber in the world. They send it to a refinery. And they refine it. They take all the stuff out of it that's not supposed to be there, and then they put them in these big barrels. Yeah, and then
Big.
they sell them. Yeah, they truck it out. Yeah. Why did I take this picture?
It was just,
Oh, you wanted me to take this picture.
yeah, because this was kind of typical of the Thai ladies doing work. Like, this was like a huge wagon. I mean, the wagon's bigger than she is, but obviously it's empty right there, but they'd be pushing these wagons.
Well, you can see what that is. It's big. It's a big animal.
It was on the side of the road, and I wanted to get out and pet it, and they wouldn't let me.
There were 3 of them. Yeah, and they're wild, no fences, just kind of out there.
Micah got out,
Yeah.
but then the
Yeah.
thing started running off.
I was so upset. I don't know if I mentioned this on any of my postings or things, but I was in Africa for 2 weeks and I never saw a snake. And I love snakes. And I never saw a snake. And I mean places where snakes are supposed to be. And we didn't see any. We go to Thailand. I'm talking about this.
That morning.
Yeah, that morning. I'm talking about, I haven't seen any snakes. And so that day we're driving, a cobra goes right in front of us across the road.
Like fast.
A spitting cobra. And I was like, yes, my life is fulfilled. All right, on we go. So here is the pyramid of ministry in Thailand. Micah, the tall one on the left, and myself. And then the pastor on the right, the Thai pastor, who's a wonderful man, very gracious, good teacher of the scriptures. I found an app on my phone that would listen to him talk in Thai and convert it into English for me. So I was trying to follow along with his teaching, and he did a good job. And I told him so. I thought he did a good job. There's Deborah and Misty. We enjoyed our time with them. They're quite a bit younger than us. You know, they're probably 20 years younger than us. But we've enjoyed becoming their friends, especially as they've made us their home church. And we love their children. Here are their children. Sophia's on the left there. She's the oldest. And then Margot. And then little Tali, who was born right before. No, they came home for Tali.
They came home for
yeah.
Tali.
And then
They were home for Robert. No, Tali was born
Micah.
here.
Micah.
was born here.
yeah. Oh yeah. They're sweet, very spirited young little ones, and of course learning the language. And they're a precious family. As you can see, life is very full for them right now. So they're doing good. Here is a typical Sunday morning church service at this place where Micah has been working here for about a year or two. I think I have a little video here. This is right before Christmas. So we're singing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing" in Thai. Ready? I'm playing the piano. They don't have a piano player there. I know it's kind of hard to see because the screens are a little bit away. But we're live streaming this, so if you want to go back, you can look at it up close if you want later. We had a wonderful time there. There's the pastor teaching. This is his wife, also very gracious, hardworking family. And then there's the airport, Udantani. We're on our way home. Another 32-hour trip, I think it was. We flew from Udantani back to Bangkok. That was short. And then we flew from Bangkok to Vancouver, Canada, which was 13 hours. And then we flew from Vancouver to Chicago. That was 6 hours, I think. Four.
I think 6.
Yeah. And then Chicago home. And when we came back to North America, we saw something very strange. I'll show you a couple things here. This is from the airport in Bangkok. So they have some very interesting decorations in their airport. So that's some kind of 7-headed snake or something, isn't it? wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a big deal there. And some elephants, sculptures and stuff. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, here's our last journey, Sewang to Indianapolis, following the route there. And then when we saw this on the ground as we were landing, I think in Chicago, and we didn't understand what that was until we left the airplane. All right, well, that's about 130 pictures out of over 300 things that we took on the trip. But we take maybe a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, if you have any questions. We'd love to ask. What can I say in summary? The missionaries that we are supporting in these different places are faithful. They are hardworking. We can be proud of them. Because I lived on the field, I know sometimes missionaries aren't always on the field, what they are back here when they're in front of church people. These guys are. These guys are hardworking, faithful, sticking at it through thick and thin, and we can be real proud of being a partner with them. Anything you want to add? Summaries? Questions?
This is probably a stupid question.
Probably
I
not.
want to know why there were so many orphans
Oh,
in that orphanage.
yeah.
Why were there so many of them?
yeah. In Africa, a lot of the orphan crisis came from the AIDS epidemic years ago when it was rampant. Now, a lot of work's been done in Africa since then, and the AIDS problem is much, much, much better than it used to be. But there are still a lot of, and there were kind of different categories of orphans too. There were orphans that were true orphans that had lost their mom and their dad. So those were true orphans. Those they would always take in, even babies, emergency situations. Yeah. Then there were some situations where the kids didn't have one parent, but they had another parent. But for whatever reason, the parent wasn't able to provide for the child. Maybe they were in prison, maybe they were addicted to drugs, alcohol, whatever. So they would take care of some of those orphans. And then there were some orphans that didn't have mom or dad, but they had extended family, grandparents or aunts or uncles, stuff like that. But again, for whatever reason, they weren't able to care for the child. A lot of times, you'll have lots of people stuffed into a home in some of those places. And so another mouth is sometimes really hard. And so they'll take in orphans for those different reasons. But yeah, there's a lot of life expectancy issues in some places in Africa where they just don't live that long. But the AIDS and some of the other diseases that are out there are still a problem. Sometimes people get killed by hippos. Yeah, I mean, it's Africa. So there's all kinds of reasons. Hey, do I eat this? No. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Barb had a question.
Barb?
The mamas that are in the homes, are they local women that come in?
Yeah, they pay them, and they have them on a schedule, a rotating schedule. And yeah, they run the household. They cook the meals for the kids. They do all the cleaning. Make sure they stay in line. Discipline-wise, and yeah. Here you go, buddy. Any other questions, Donna?
Gold that they're digging for, do they realize
Yeah.
that even in the United States that gold is more valuable now, or have they always done that?
This was the question that I had, because there were gold mines like you saw with the big shaft coming out of the ground all over this area, dozens of them. And I was like, how are they not functioning? Like, if you had gold in the ground, wouldn't your country be like, let's get the gold, right? But evidently it's just mismanaged completely. And overregulation and the government taking so much profit from the gold that companies weren't getting enough margin to stay in business. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's what's happening in a lot of that gold area.
And the people that go out for themselves and they,
Yeah, the illegal mining.
I mean, how do they get the gold, and then how do they
Yeah.
profit them there in that country?
Yeah, evidently they make enough money doing it to keep doing it because they're still doing it. And
Government is taking money away.
well, the illegal miners aren't interacting with the government. Yeah, they're doing it secretly. And a lot. And I think I don't want to speak out of turn because again, this is live streamed and people will say he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I don't think the government pays a whole lot of attention to the illegal miners, frankly. Yeah. Yeah. But how they get, my understanding is how they get the gold is they find where the gold is kind of running through the stone, and they either blast it with dynamite or they, with big drills and stuff, and they get it out in big chunks. They send it up that shaft to the surface, and then they basically pulverize it, the whole thing. They pulverize it, and they put it through some sort of a chemical process that separates the gold out, and then the rest of it kind of goes into that slurry, I think they called it, that they put in the landfills. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Any other questions?
So at the Pines, it shows
Mhm.
their all of their property or whatever, they grow their own
Yeah.
cabbage and their
Yeah.
greenhouses.
Yeah.
Do they hire people to do that, or do they all just go and do it?
There were some of the, so they have some mamas like Deborah talked about. They also have a couple of different flats where the kids stay that have a mama and a papa, a married couple. There's only a couple of those, and they're looking to increase to that as well with some of the new flats. A couple of those guys, I believe, help out with some of that, and I think some of the kids do too. But Randy does do a lot of that himself. But some of the older kids, I mean, they have kids that are up to their 20s, early 20s, and so they're all
They
working.
have some kind of a mulch. Wasn't it mulch or something that
Yeah.
the boys, older
Yeah, they
boys?
cut down, branches that are dead, and they run it through a mulcher type thing, and
And,
they sell the mulch. Yeah, they're pretty self-sufficient in a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I can't speak for them, but South Africa, if you watch the news, you hear that there are some things going on in South Africa that are not safe. But a lot of those are in areas not where the Pines is. There is some actually killing going on between some of the white farmers in South Africa, and then some of the black. I mean, they're blaming some of the government leaders as well. The African National Congress is the political party that's in charge of South Africa right now. It was the party of Nelson Mandela, if you remember that name. And they don't subscribe to any of the violence. But down the chain, some of those people are claimed to have been involved in some of these murders of some of these white farmers in different areas, and then they take their land and that kind of thing. But that's not happening, to my knowledge, that's not happening where Randy is. Yeah. Yeah. And Zambia has a lot of petty crime like burglary and theft and stuff like that. But overall, they're pretty safe. Yeah. And they have walls around all their houses there. They're like compounds. They have gates at all their houses, all their properties, the churches, the college. They have guards 24/7 at those gates. A lot of the people have dogs, like Rottweilers, big guard dogs that roam around at night. And
It's
that
really
takes,
for the snakes.
yeah, they do that for snakes, but they also do it for theft, burglary. And they did that in Chapata, too, on the other side where Harrison and Michelle are, too. But, yeah, I feel pretty safe, yeah. No, no.
They work with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least at this point. Yeah. Now, on our way to Thailand, we flew over India, and India is one of those countries now that you can't go in as a American missionary and try to do something. Yeah. But in Africa, in those places, they still have quite a bit of freedom. Up north in Africa is where a lot of the problem spots are. Nigeria, you've probably heard a lot about recently. Thailand is pretty safe too. Yeah, yeah. They're pretty free. It's Buddhist, right? But it's not persecute. Yeah, they don't persecute. No, it's pretty open, pretty democratic. Yeah. Now, of course, around them is Myanmar on one side, which is Burma, old Burma, where Judson went, and Vietnam on the other side, Cambodia. To the south was Malaysia. What? Oh, yeah, Laos. Laos is right up there. Yep. And so I don't know if that's the same in all of those countries surrounding, but Thailand is, yeah, pretty free. In fact, there's a lot of American missionaries in Thailand. It's been a spot where all the mission boards have sent multiple missionaries over many decades. So there's quite a few in the country. Yeah. Good. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we've gone an hour and 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So thanks for your time. And if you want to talk more or have any specific things that come to mind, let us know. We'll be around.
And they would love for you to go visit. So if you want to
Yeah, if you
take
ever
a
want to.
trip.
It's a long trip, but yeah.